Broadcasting live from sunny California, it's 10 Minutes in Tinseltown with Ms. Meliz, a.k.a. Melissa Reyes. And now, from the left corner, your host, Melissa Reyes.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tinseltown Tonight. I'm Melissa Reyes, and tonight I have with me a fantastic guest. I'm so excited that she's here all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. It's Grammy Dawney Glenn. Hi, Grammy.
Hello.
Hello. I know sometimes I'm in the right corner and sometimes I'm in the wrong corner and sometimes I am actually in the left corner. It just depends on how you see things. But when that was recorded,
Yes.
the host was always in the left corner. So that's kind of funny. So welcome to Tinseltown Tonight. How are you?
I am so excited to be here. I'm just like, oh my God. I told my husband, I said, Melissa wants to interview me.
Of course I do. I was very lucky that when I first met, I want to say Dawney, Grammy, Dawney,
No, okay.
Grammy, Dawney.
No,
okay.
People who are close to my age tend to call me Dawney. People who are younger than me tend to call me Grammy. And then there's just some really weird ones out there. We won't talk about them.
Dawney Graham, Grammy Dawn. I've heard it all. So anyway, I was on a blab. I don't know. I was on something where I was asked about my background, and I had said I like to put up pictures of artists that I'm inspired by, and if you'd ever want to, put your art on my wall or on my website, let me know. And this quick little lady is ready to jump on everything. That was ready to send me some things, so much so that I didn't even have a chance to print it out in time for the show that night. But I did put it on the website. It's still there, and of course, we have more things on the show notes for this show. Which I actually this month, I was on vacation, and I thought, I'll just get really fancy and put the whole month's worth of interview show notes into one post, which has worked great for me. But
good.
So your information is there, and I'll go back and add to it after our discussion. But so that is on the website at msmeliz.com. And I did start using what's it called? Live press for WordPress, the live stream press.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be an affiliate. That's it. Simple Live Press. Yes. And so automatically after the show, my most recent episode of Tinseltown goes directly to the Tinseltown page on my website. So you'll be right there until next week. So there's that. And so, hello there. Thank you. It's Durham Skyrider.
It's Pat. It's Patricia.
Patricia. Ooh. There she is on the Patricia A. Murray YouTube channel. Wow. We have our YouTuber in the house. Hey there. And we have our blogger. We have Carolyn West from SoCal Lady Bloggers, and she's got a blog called This Talk Ain't Cheap, which is a really incredible blog. You got to check it out. And we have Meredith Loughran in the room. She is also a techie website designer, writer, author, two-time NaNoWriMo winner, an amazing blabber, and a friend of mine who at sometimes in the middle of the night, it's late, you can find us on here side by side. We look like we're looking in a freaking mirror. Sometimes we look so much alike. It's weird. It's shocking, isn't it? So we can't say that about you and me, Dawney, though. You and me had different mothers, but we are related, I think. I think so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sister from a different mother.
Sisters.
I have several of those, yes.
Sisters. Yeah, I love that. So tell us about this piece. If you're tuning in later, watching the YouTube video, you may not be able to see it, but if you go to Grammy Dawney Glenn's website, at GrammysArt.com.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
you will see it. It's beautiful and a very colorful painting. Tell us about it, Grammy.
So the title of this is Confetti. I've done a series of pictures where I've got I lay down a background and then I come up with usually a repeating pattern to put down on top of it. And this was kind of boy, my words have just decided not to come. This is kind of a deviation from that a little bit, because what I was trying to do was do different shades of the same colors. And in person, you can see that there's a lot of depth to the thing. But once I got it all done and pulled off the tape and looked at it, I went, oh, it's confetti coming down from a ceiling. It's a party. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I paint.
Streamers and
yes,
celebration.
Yes. I paint non-representational abstract, which means normally you cannot. There isn't anything to see. There's not something that you can identify and say, "Oh, that's a." I'm
trying to get a smile on here. Hold on. I'm going to interrupt you. Okay. So I really want you to look good here, so I'm going to smile. This is for Snapchat. Okay. She's so pretty. Okay. All right. That's good. So can you say that again?
Non-representational.
Ooh, non-representational.
So it doesn't represent anything. It's non-representational abstract art.
Okay.
So it's just kind of
it's not supposed to mean or anything. And but what you see is what you get.
Yes. Okay. It is supposed to invoke an emotional response. You're supposed to look at that and go, oh, that makes me feel, and then you fill in the blank.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes the title, see, when I tell you it's confetti, you go, oh, that's a happy painting, because that's what confetti invokes. But if I didn't tell you that, you could walk up to that and say, oh, that looks kind of blue to me. That looks a little sad. Or that makes me look very excited, or that reminds me of firecrackers, or, I mean, you just get all kinds of, and here's the thing, I've been talking to a lot of people about purchasing and why do you purchase art and what are you interested in, and these are people that have been part of a gallery walk that the city of Nashville does. Are you coming? Do you know the day that you're going to be here? Will it be the first weekend of the month? Do you know?
You're asking me? Yeah, hold on. I'll look it up.
Look.
Somewhere on my desk I have this save the date. It's in October. My calendar only goes to June. It's a school calendar.
Okay, so if it's the first weekend of the month, I will take you on this gallery walk, and it's tremendous, and there's, I mean, hundreds of people will walk through the gallery. And so I've talked to a lot of people about this, and I always go up to the ones that I can tell have been dragged into this by a friend or a spouse or oh my gosh, why am I here? And I approach them and, hi, I can see that you're a little uncomfortable. Tell me what you like in this room. And because the room that I show in is all abstract art, they'll look around and, oh, well, I kind of like that one. And I says, okay, well, then that's where you need to go over and look at that person, or I like this one, or okay, I painted that. Let's talk about that. But it's the painting that you look at.
Yeah,
that the exit.
It's the food truck. That's why I was really like,
the food truck. It's the painting that invokes in you an emotional response, and it's either, oh, I really like that, or oh, that makes me really uncomfortable, or I don't know, or even I don't like that at all. Ooh. All of that is an emotional response. The first time that I ever saw a Jackson Pollock painting, I looked at it and kind of went, that's just a mess. But honestly, but I've since tried to recreate some of his stuff, and oh my goodness, the finesse that I can now see in his artwork is it's incredible. So a lot of it is experience based. And that's why my classes are called Grammy's Art Experience, because sometimes you need to experience it to get it.
Oh, okay. So I'm looking for Jackson Pollock. I've got a good one here. Yeah, I just had to have a visual to go with that. So I'm going to put this in.
His stuff, I really do love his stuff, but oh my gosh, sometimes it just looks like a mess.
All right, so, well, is it coming up?
Will that work?
It didn't come up.
It has to come from my brain's not going to come up with it.
No, I know it.
It has to come from a secure site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pollock, that one was I'm stealing that from the internet. This is kind of funny. All right, so that would have been so good if it just worked on cue, man. I had it all ready to go. It doesn't like
the
that.
guy with the squares is Mondrian, and I think that's the next one I've got lined up here.
All right, let's see. Yeah, these aren't good for this.
Yes, we know.
Oh, there you go.
See that? Yeah. This one ended up being titled Mondrian in Blue. And at the time, I didn't think of it as a Mondrian, but once it got finished and was hanging on the wall, I had a couple of people, 2 specific people came through and were very interested in the painting. We stood there talking about it, and they said, "What's the title?" And at the time, I didn't really have a title for it. I just called it the blue one. Thank you, Pat. So I said, I don't really, I said, let's name it. And he looked at her and said Mondrian. And she said Mondrian in Blue. And I said, oh, I love that. That's a great title. And they left. And it was about 30 minutes later that it went through my little brain. I went, oh my goodness, they're comparing my work to Piet Mondrian.
Oh my God.
And I start shaking.
That's the guy.
I'm just like, his first name is Piet, and I'm like, I mean, that, Melissa, that would be like, if you played the piano and somebody said, yeah, you remind me of a young Mozart,
Yeah.
and you go, oh, thanks.
Yeah, and then they leave. They're like, wow, she's she must have expected that one, right? I want to try this here.
Okay. It does work when you look and see it as a Mondrian.
Oh my gosh. Well, this is actually, all right. I guess it doesn't like me. So
yeah,
so that's okay. We don't have to compare. We'll just look at yours because yours are awesome and believe you. And if you Google, just come back. Because this, the first one was like you related to Jackson Pollock in the way that you were talking about how it's abstract and it was not supposed to be anything, but it does become something when you look at it. But yet you did title it, and it does give it that sense of what they are. And then with this one, with the blue, and it got compared to that. But what was your intention when you were first doing it? Did you have one?
When I was working on that, let me go back and see if I can grab that link again. Okay. Excuse me. When I originally did this, I was looking to create a piece that would show, wait a minute, I want to change that just a minute, large. Let's make that medium and copy. And dun, 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 dun. Okay, let's see if that works better. When I originally started this, I was looking to create a painting that had a lot of depth, that you could see into the painting. And so you can see that some of these lines are faint, and they tend to be in the background instead.
Dimensional.
It looks really good when you're standing in front of it. The blue color itself ended up changing tones as it goes around the paint, and I didn't do that on purpose. That just happened as I was trying to blend it out into the black. But the whole thing ended up creating this it's a very deep picture. You can see a lot of depth in it. That's what I was going for. My original, and I did find the original title eventually, was Rhapsody. I was just, but I was just like, whatever. I like Mondrian a lot better. This actually came off of a graphic it was a computer graphic that had been put up. When you go to church and you don't have hymnals, they put the words up on the screens for everybody to see.
At our church, we call that big. What's it called? What's it called at sports places? The big Tron or whatever, Megatron.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though it's not very big, that's what we call it, the Megatron.
It's okay. And this was actually a background for one of the songs, and I sat there and I was fascinated by the background, to the point that I stopped singing the song and just started taking pictures on my phone. Click, my poor husband. Quit that. Shut up. Nobody notices if you'll be quiet.
And that's what
it is. It is also
inspired you?
It's also a Doctor Who shade of blue. So my original intention was just to be able to get that depth. Painting this picture caused me so much angst. I was so it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't work, and it sat for a very long time on my giant easel in the corner of my studio until I got a really Coach Jenny.
I do.
The Audacity coach.
Yes.
And she does cathartic shoves. Yeah, I got a lovely little shove from my higher power saying, "Do this," and I went, "Okay," and I did it, and I literally finished it that day. It went from a state of this isn't working to its perfection in the course of about 2 hours, and it was because I was afraid to finish it because I couldn't make it look like what was in my head, and that stopped me. It really put a block on me, and it was kind of like, okay, so learning how to get through that painter's block, learning that it doesn't have to be perfect. If you look at the actual paint, and you can kind of see in the square in the middle there, that the lines are not really perpendicular; they're a little bit crooked, and there's so much.
Say something.
I know nobody notices it until I point it out. There's so much wrong with this painting.
Yeah.
It is a series of imperfections, and I look at it and go, oh. And everybody else looks at it and goes,
how can anything you create have imperfections? Because it's perfect because you created it. Let me backtrack a little bit. I love your presentation, and as you can see, anybody watching this, Dawney loves to discuss the process, the creative process, and she just goes right in. She's like, "Let me show you my art and tell you all about it." But this is Tinseltown tonight, Miss Glenn. And I'm going to ask the questions now. So I want to just take everybody on a little journey of who you are and how you came to be who you are. So we're going to talk about it in sense of your journey into your artwork, because that's really why we're here. And of course, I want to discover everything about you, but we don't have too much time. Also, we've both not been well, but the energy in here tonight is so. It's really, I'm thriving on it, and I love it. So where did you come from? Where did you start in your journey that brought you to where you are now in art? Tell me a little bit. We'll talk about that for a little while. Then we'll talk about really where you are now, how you are in your comfort level, what it is that has brought you to a point where you're ready to market, because I know you are. You're like, really, this is a business now. And then where do you see yourself on this journey, and what is your intention? What is your desired outcome? What's your heart's desire when it comes to this journey of your art enterprise? So let's just backtrack a little bit, and Dawney, tell us how you got started with this.
So I was in my late 30s. I believe I figured out that I was 38, and I had always wanted to paint, but had never picked up a paintbrush. I don't know that I ever expressed that desire to anyone ever. And a very good friend of mine said to me one day at church, my life and church are very integral. said to me, I'm doing a workshop on Saturday, come. Oh, no, I couldn't possibly. I don't know anything about painting. I can't come on Saturday and do this with me. Oh, okay. So this
Are
is a
you
guy
usually easily that influence?
No, he's I consider him a spiritual parent. He's kind of I call him Daddy Bob behind his back. I don't do that to his face very often, but I've actually borrowed money from him. I said Bob, I consider you a father figure. He says, yeah. Can I borrow $20? And then I paid him back. So really, it was because it was Bob. And I go into this and it's this room of about, I don't know, 15, 20 people, and everybody, and he sits me down at a table and hands me a little canvas and a little if it was 8 by 10 I would be amazed, but it was just a little canvas and some paints and brushes and he stood up in front of everybody and he did a little lesson and he said, okay, everybody go. And I looked around and they're painting pretty little puppy dogs and landscapes and valleys, and I went, I need to put a big circle of orange here, and this should be purple, and it needs a little green, and I just started putting color on the canvas, and I got done, and I went over to Bob, and I think he kind of went. I don't know that he'd ever worked with an abstract artist before.
Did you know you were an abstract artist at the moment? That's when it. Oh my God.
I just looked at it and went, that's what I see in my head. and he's like, okay, I really like this. And then he went on to tell me what he really liked about it and the way that I had put the colors together and I was kind of like, oh, wow, I guess I can do this. And that's exactly what it sounded like in my head. It was kind of, because I was kind of expecting, oh, that just looks, but he was very positive with me. And so I went back and I did his workshops. He did workshops twice a month. I did that for about 2 years with him. And when I would get into something that I decided that I could paint a lion. I don't know why I decided I could paint a lion, but I had a really clear picture of it. I knew what I wanted it to look like, and I'm sitting here and I'm painting this giant canvas, and I'd never done a giant canvas before, and I couldn't make it look like a lion. I couldn't.
Yeah.
And I finally threw up my hands.
Because I can relate to this so much. Everybody is creative. You get this idea, and or you think it looks like it, and then the next person you show says, not so much.
Not really. I had a little practice canvas that I had practiced on. And I took my practice canvas over to Bob's house, and I says, Bob, I can't. It won't make it look like a lion. And he said, okay. So a lion has got a broad nose, and this kind of eyes, and it was the eyes I had so clearly in my head. And so he kind of he fixed the nose, and he fixed the little mouth, and he said, there, now it looks. And I'm like, oh. Oh, and he changed the colors on it. He made it more lion colored. I can't explain it other than it was Turner's yellow. And I went, oh, and I took that little practice canvas home, and I looked at my and I went, okay, I can do this. And I ended up making this gorgeous picture, very dark lion with this giant mane and these brilliant green eyes that just popped out of the canvas. It was perfect. It was exactly what I wanted, and gave it to a friend of mine who was kind of a teacher at the time, and his name was Judah, and he really encouraged me, and Lion of Judah, and so I gave it to him, and it was great. And it was like, and then I've since tried to recreate that painting. I can't do it.
Really? Yeah.
It just doesn't. So, but that's one of the very few paintings that I've ever done that you can look at and go, oh, that's a lion, because it's obviously a lion. But it was because Bob made it look like a lion. So he's done that for me over and over, and this was over the course of about 2 years. And at one point I was painting a painting. It was a picture that I'd seen of a volcano erupting in National Geographic. And I went, oh, I have got to paint that. But, you know, and so what I ended up painting the entire canvas is black, except for this bright red sort of flowing. It was the lava flow. And it's gorgeous. And I kept working on it and kept working on it and kept working on it. And he asked me one day, he said, so what is it that you're doing? And I said, well, I need to tighten up this line here. And I want that to fade because this is the bottom of it. And so it's got to have a clearer starting line. And I want it to fade a little more at the top. And I've got to clean up this. And he's like, so you do know, you've got a plan in your head. You know what you're doing. And I said, oh, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I mean, this isn't just happening by accident. There's really something that I'm creating. And it was that point that he kind of said, okay, you can go. So I've been doing my own stuff ever since.
So that's a wonderful story, Dawney. That's great. I mean, you had a aha moment where you thought and you realized what, you know, like a calling, and you realized you answered the call. You knew what it was that you wanted to learn, and then you had a wonderful guide who taught you how.
Great teacher
and mentored and really helped you through and still motivates you now, and still you know, and that's amazing. And then when did you decide that was something that I don't know, that could be a career, or could be something that you would do full time? Is that what you're doing now? Almost?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'm working at it. We moved, so this all happened in Salt Lake City. I raised my family in Salt Lake. We lived there for 26 years. And my kids all grew up and got married and ran away from home. What are you going to do? And I told my husband, I says, you know, you've supported me. I wanted to raise a family. We've raised a family. We got another 30 years here. What do you want to do for the rest of your life? And he kind of gulped for a minute and then said, okay, let's go to Nashville. And so we moved up there.
Family there or people there?
No. It was just the right place to go.
Okay. Sounds like an adventure.
Oh, dear. So we sold everything. And we actually moved out of we had a little 2-bedroom, we had a 5-bedroom house that I had filled with kids at one point. And slowly but surely they all left. And when it got down to me, my husband, and my youngest daughter, we moved from the 5-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom apartment. And then she moved out of the apartment and I converted her little bedroom to my studio. And this was, you know, all the while we were trying to work out the details of doing the move. And so we actually moved out of that little 2-bedroom apartment and moved into my middle daughter's spare bedroom and lived with them for 3 months.
Okay.
So we divested ourselves of everything.
Wow.
And we finally got to, okay, this is when we're going. We moved actually the weekend of Pentecost in 2014.
Okay.
And so Pentecost is a big deal to me because of that. But we packed, we could fit 9 boxes in the car. It was 9 boxes, my desk that my computer is sitting on, and my spinning wheel. And
9 boxes.
9 boxes.
And
a spinning wheel.
That's like what I have in this room at the Wow.
It was all that would fit in the car. We didn't want to have to get a trailer. And so we were ruthless. I mean, the stuff that I threw out that my husband said, we're not throwing that out. The stuff that he threw out that I said, oh, I got to put that someplace. And so there's things have made it through the journey. But yeah, it was, but for a midlife kind of change, it was a wonderful process to go through to find out just how much I don't need. Yeah. And so we moved to Nashville.
Well, that's really neat. Okay, hold it there. The move to Nashville. That's a good place to pause for a moment. It's halfway through, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who's here and everybody who's watching and listening. This is Tinseltown Tonight with Ms. Meliz. That's me, Melissa Reyes, and my featured guest, Grammy, Dawney Glenn from GrammysArt.com. And Grammy is here from Nashville, Tennessee, and she's sharing her story and her journey of how she moved to Nashville in her midlife reawakening and to become an artist, and how you can get her art. So if you want to check it out, go to grammysart.com or to msmeliz.com, and you can see the replay of this show, as well as get all the information on how to contact Dawney and see some of her artwork there as well. So thank you so much for being here, Dawney, and for sharing your story and how you started working as an artist, or how art found you and grabbed you and said, "Come make me." That's pretty amazing. and how you defined yourself and not defined yourself, but within doing that became a specific kind of artist, and that is an abstract artist, where you see things in a different way than not anyone. The course
a lot
that
of people,
we were there to be for, but that somebody saw you and said, saw what you were doing and said, you know what, let me tell you what's good about this. And that is an inspiration in itself, just to remember to go forward and to say to people, let me tell you what's good about that. Because instead of saying, no, you're doing it all wrong, this is how we do it, he gave you a giant open door and a push through it. My gosh. Okay. So you and your husband sold everything, packed up the car, and moved to Nashville. Then what happens? What happens now? How long has it been?
It's been 2 years.
Okay.
We had thought we had a time frame. It's going to be da 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 da. We were wrong. We're often wrong.
Wait, are you talking about me?
No.
You and me.
We're often wrong about time frames, because we actually have a plan. We're here to create a foundation that will support a farm resident program, where we can put young adults that have aged out of the foster care system, plant them for however long they need, teach them life skills, give them people who care about them, not because there's any money connected, but because we care about them, and give them a way to receive and be able to express love. This is a massive thing for me. It's a heart thing, and it's a God thing. And we came here to do this because God said this is the place, and so we came. And we figured by now that we'd be in the middle of it, and it just hasn't worked out that way. Starting in January of this year, I was praying over this whole thing, and what are we doing, and what are we doing, and what are we doing, and God has a tendency to tell me just the very next step, because if he tells me the next 2 or 3, I'll jump to the end. So he gives me one step at a time. Anyway, at the beginning of this year, I was praying over what we needed to do, and God basically said, start selling your art. And I'm like, I have no idea how to do that. And it was basically go and do. And I found Blab, and I found, better than that, I found Blab Nation, and I found Jonathan Tripp and Leland Best, and then I found Miss Meliz.
You got lucky.
And then I found
there wasn't anyone like that here when I started that.
I'm telling you, I am so blessed because of people like you who have been so kind and have said, this is how you do that. This is Leland's the one who got me started on a website. This is how you do that. Jonathan's got me started blabbing. I actually do a show on Tuesdays. Only I'm switching to Mondays. But
thank you.
Well, I've been on Tuesdays at 7:00 Eastern, and I gave up that time slot to Zephzan because she wanted to do TED Talk Tuesdays.
Right.
And I didn't I didn't want to go up against Zeph, so I said, okay, you take Tuesdays, I'll take Mondays. So Starting next week, I will be on Mondays.
Technically,
where I talk about
the afternoon and evening anyway on Tuesdays.
it's so, but I talk all about creative process. That's what I do. But so I've got a website, I've got a Twitter account, I've got an Instagram account, I have a Snapchat account, I have all of these things, and I'm learning how to market my art through them because of the people that I meet. And I'm always running to the next person right on time.
Mm-hmm.
I did sell a painting last month at the gallery walk.
Oh.
Which I was thrilled. I'm like, yay!
Yay! Yay! That's good. I'm a little, like I told you, I'm a little zoned today, so I need to wake up. And there's my bell. Here, I'll have a little.
Yay!
Yay! You get a little.
Oh, look at that.
Little sparkle.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is my only. I heart blab.
Oh, I heart blab. Oh, and it's the props. I love that.
It's the props.
I started to make more, but I'll just use the sparkle ones right now. But the bell was like an old radio kind of thing. So Grammy, that's great. So you sold this piece. You decided to start trying to sell because you heard a voice saying sell your art, but that wasn't the plan when you moved to Nashville.
No.
Yeah. So the plan was to start this foundation, which, I'd love to hear more about that. If you wouldn't mind straying from the journey to art to entrepreneurship.
No problem.
Yeah. Tell me what made you, is it something in your life that you would be willing to share, or?
So first of all, you need to know that I will cry. This is a massive heart thing for me.
Okay.
I
have
reading
tissue
a book.
right here. I have some. This is my mini box of tissue. Okay, ready? Wait. No, put your box down a little bit lower. Right. Here, I'm going to give you a tissue. Okay, here, take a tissue.
Oh,
there.
Thank you.
Now, for most people watching, that was probably on the wrong side of the screen. But for us, it looked really good. And my tissue magically appeared in Nashville. Awesome. Okay, so tell me about it. Tell me about it, Dawney.
I was reading a book called Aging Out of the Foster Care System, and the statistics that were in there and the stories that it told. And this was written by two people in New York City. And they had, a lot of, but basically the things that I took away from that, the number one thing that I took away from that is that kids who age out. So these are kids who have been in the system for a long time and are turning 18 or 19 and are no longer considered wards of the court, and they're adults, and it's basically, here, we're done with you.
Okay, pause for 1 second. Pause for 1 second because you need to refresh. You're getting a little digitized for me.
Okay, let me get my glasses on.
Okay, I'm gonna pause. Okay, so you read a book about it, that these and that's how it touched you.
Yeah, and these kids need somebody. They need somebody.
Moves and sells everything. Moves to Nashville to start a foundation. You are one amazing person, and your husband too.
I've had a lot of people that they're like, oh wow, this is, and but it's kind of like, I didn't really have a choice. It was something that was dropped on me by God, and it wasn't that I didn't have a choice. Of course I had a choice. But the way that it was recently explained to me is that it was the only living choice that I had. To have turned my back on this idea would have been to have turned my back on God, and I wouldn't have been able to live with myself. So this is like this is over the course of 8 years we've been discussing this and trying to figure out how to do it, and the whens and the whys and the how fors, and that's what I mean. We're always wrong about time frames. We always think it's tomorrow, and it ends up being 5 years from now. So, we'll just see how it works.
Where is that sitting now? As far as what do you need to do to get it going, or what have you done to?
We are making a lot of connections right now. The people that the people that we go to church with, the people that we work with. I've got a couple of volunteering opportunities that I take advantage of. we're just basically meeting people. We're networking and finding people who are kind of in the world that we are going to be involved in. The general idea in my head is that by the end of this year, in other words, November, December of 2016, I will be making enough money off of my art to replace my husband's salary so that he can stop working full time and start going out and speaking and talking about and raising money for this foundation.
Wow. So that's your plan.
That's the general idea in my head.
Yeah. But based on everything you just told me, you're pretty much open to anything. Yeah. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. Well, okay.
We'll go with it.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know you were a little concerned about getting emotional. I passed a tissue from Los Angeles all the way to Nashville, which you didn't need.
All the way to Nashville.
Yeah, but hold on to it, because I know I have Meredith is going to take over a little bit for me, so I could take a little break because I'm not feeling well. But so I think if she comes in, she'll ask some questions, or otherwise there's some questions here I'm going to put over on the side. How do I switch back? Here we go. There, that you can, well, oh, here she is. Yay!
Yay!
And now I'd like to introduce to you the beautiful Meredith
Jazzy
Loughran. Jazzy. Yeah, so she got excited. She's like, okay. So to everybody who's here and everyone who's watching, I'd like to introduce you to my friend Meredith Loughran. She is here from Florida, right? What's the city?
Brooksville. We're on the Nature Coast.
Brooksville, the place I've never heard of or said before in Florida. And so she's going to give me a moment to just take a little break. I'm going to step out and I'll give you host thing, and then you can go ahead and ask some questions for me. I really appreciate it.
Now, I don't know if you touched on this, but in the side, I did ask if you had any rituals that you did before you sat in front of a canvas. Because
as a matter of fact, I tend to pick a musical artist, and it's usually somebody. Sometimes it's Frank Sinatra. Sometimes it's who's it been lately? For a long time there, it was Frankie Valli. Sometimes I'll listen to Pharrell Williams, the I'm Happy guy, the happy song.
Yes.
Sometimes it's Harry Connick Jr., who's my favorite. I'm kind of because of my age, but then I'll also listen to 70s and 80s songs and Jackson Browne and Creedence Clearwater Revival and Ringo Starr. And so what I do is I put on some really good music, and then I got to dance around a little bit, and sing at the top of my lungs, and basically to get that burst of nervous energy out, because I can't paint when my head is like this. And so that gets it all out, and then I can look at the canvas and go, okay, we're going to start now. And then I can, start laying down whatever I need to do. Also, I like to dance and I like to sing, and it's a good excuse.
Now, is that an emotional thing? Do you find that when you turn on the music, it's based on your mood, or do you try to adjust that and try and stay positive? Because I saw some of your artwork, and it seems very very kind of open and freeing, and not dark. I never saw anything dark in there. So, I mean, I know that there are dark spots, but do you purposely kind of stay away from that kind of art?
I'm a very uplifting, energetic person. In fact, all of my stuff is very primary colors, and I slap those contrasts on there, and so I've got a painting that's half gold and orange and half blues and whites, and smush them together, and it's startling when you see it. It's one of my giant canvases. My giant canvases are 30 by 40. So, I was literally just thinking the other day, I need to calm my palette down. It's a little bit too bright. It's a little bit too it's really hard on the eyes sometimes. But I realized I was looking at somebody else's painting, and I do this a lot. I look at other people's paintings, and I discover that, oh, that would be an interesting color scheme to use. But I was looking at this guy's paintings, and I went, oh, that's kind of gorgeous, and it was all very soft and pastel-y, and I thought, you know, I need to bring things down a little bit. So so yeah, I do try. The music is uplifting. It's uplifting on purpose. If I'm having a bad day, then it'll be classical music. Cannons, Pachelbel, Chopin, love Tchaikovsky. The classical music, you know, kind of settles my brain down as well. The interesting thing about the classical music is that I'll settle down and the music is playing, and I'll not hear it anymore. I'm too busy working. If I'm playing like 70s and 80s music, then I'm singing along, because, you know, and so I get a lot more involved in the music so it just kind of depends. And I don't necessarily make that choice consciously. I think that I'm just open to, it's kind of like, you know, okay, what do I feel like today? Let's do Dr. Hook and the Medicine Band.
Yeah, and it's so funny that you said that, because I just had a visual. Did you see that movie 50 First Dates with Drew Barrymore?
Yes.
And she's up on the ladder and she's singing and she's singing the verse and stuff. I had the image of you doing that. That's hysterical.
That would be me.
Okay, perfect.
Oh dear. Big girls don't cry. Oh, killer.
See, that's going to be the earwig in my head that will not let me go to sleep tonight.
I'm so sorry.
Oh my goodness. Now, do you have any other rituals? You know, because as a creative writer, for me, I like to set the mood. You know, so yes. I like to have my glass of wine. I like to have the lighting just right. I like to have my desk just so. You know, do you have any other like physical things that you do?
Yeah, I sit out on my back porch. In the I tell my husband my back porch is my favorite room in the house. Even though it's not in the house, I sit out there on a swing and I listen. And the birds, I've got a family of cardinals out there, and there's a nesting pair of hawks that comes around, and I listen to the birds, and I look at all the trees and the green and the growing, and I just absorb all of that. All of that tends to make me feel very connected and very peaceful. Other than that, it's basically, what colors are you going to be using, and digging through my my never clean tables and finding the paints, and I mean that's not bad today. It's really not. I'll show you. This is my
an insight into the work table.
Yeah, it's not bad today.
I'm not even going to show you mine. Mine's shameful. Shameful. It's like my notebook. All of my notebooks just went black. It's all over the table.
No. The other day I came home and I do that. I will occasionally, I'll walk into the studio and I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I been doing? I found a paintbrush this morning that I'd been painting with yesterday that I hadn't put back it didn't go into the water. It got laid down, and so I've ruined another paintbrush. I mean, I am a fallible person, and it can go wrong. I have a drop cloth on the floor because we're renting this little basement apartment. I have a drop cloth on the floor, and of course I've spilled paint where the drop cloth isn't, and I've cleaned it up to the best of my ability, and if it gets spotted, it gets spotted. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh dear. But I go out looking for inspiration. I take pictures of things in nature. I get a lot of inspiration from nature. If I see really good art someplace, I will take a picture of it. One of my more recent pieces, the orange and lavender that's on my website, was inspired by a painting that was in my doctor's office. And I looked at that and went, oh, that would be really, that would be really cool to do those color combinations. And what I do in that case is I will take a picture and I put it into my image editor, and I pixelize it to the point that I just got giant boxes of color. And then I use that piece with the pixelized painting so that I can see the colors and kind of approximately where they are. And then I will either go with that, or I might futz things around and move things. But all that does is that gives me a color scheme to work from. And I'm all about the color. It's all about the color. So that's my big deal. I don't color outside the lines. There are no lines. Lines? What lines?
Good. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So where would you say, okay, confession time perhaps, where would you say is the strangest place that you had inspiration from?
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Boy, there have been some places in downtown Nashville.
Pressure, no pressure.
Like the character, like the characters on the street, or like a mud puddle or something.
There was a lady who was dressed it's Nashville is a tourist town, and so you see very particular types. One of the types is the girl wearing shorts and cowboy boots, and then there's another. So this lady that I spotted, she's a type, and she's an older mother type. She had short gray hair, and she was wearing a zebra print and so much gold jewelry. And I sat across the
sparkle.
If I remember right, she was all sparkle. I sat across the lobby from her, and I made my husband. I said, "Just sit right there, don't move," so I could take a picture over his camera and get her on film and not be noticed.
Wow.
I did that. I've done that a couple of times. I've done it at the mall. I'll say to him very suddenly, "Hold still," and he's like, "Dawney, what are you doing? Just hold still. Just hold still.
Don't look back."
I don't want anyone to notice.
I can you hear me? I take pictures off of Facebook or whatever, and just save them to my phone of things that people's faces or people's scenery, and then I feel like I might use that later, but never have I done that in a public place with a person. I would ask them if I could take a picture, but she was someone you couldn't ask.
No, didn't know her. I am right now painting a series of paintings that are based. The series is titled Joanne's, and Joanne is actually a friend of mine from Salt Lake City. She's a beautiful woman. She's about I think she's 10 years older than I am, and she has bright red hair, and she and her husband are retired, and so they're working for YWAM, which is youth with a mission.
Mm-hmm.
They go all over the world, and so she's posting all these lovely paintings or pictures. Before we left Salt Lake City, I made a painting that she had posted, and it was this beautiful. It was just Joanne sitting on the beach. Obviously, her husband had taken the picture, and he was behind her. And so Joanne's got this beautiful orange sun hat, and she's sitting there in a black bathing suit in the beach, and it was the sea and the sky, and it was lovely. And I went, "Oh, I have to paint that." And so the way that I painted it was a big orange circle in the middle, and then this part was sand, and that part was water, and this part was sky, and here's and it's just this gorgeous painting. And when we moved, I made sure that she got it, because I didn't want to sell that one. I wanted to give that to her. She asked for it. And I've since been looking at her paintings, and I said, Joanne, I need to paint a series. And this is what I'm seeing, and I'm going to make one of Bruce. And so one will be, Joanne's garden and Joanne's husband and Joanne's. And she's like, oh, yeah, that'll be great. And so I am in the process of painting this woman's life in abstract.
Wow.
And it's going to be this fantastic, I could see it. 15 paintings. I mean, doing a series is no, it's a giant thing for an artist. It's a rite of passage. It's a way that you prove to gallery owners that you're serious about what you're doing, that you can recreate what you're doing. I mean, there's a lot of, if I can get this done,
it's very
I'd be able to take. Yes, and I'll be able to take this into a gallery and say, here's my work. Would you like to show me?
Wow, that's really neat. That's really neat. Dawney,
it's a massive professional step.
I want you to refresh again. Okay.
She knows me.
She's so creative. Look at that.
All right. So please stand by for these technical difficulties, and we'll have a musical interlude. No, I'm just kidding. Meredith. I like being on this side better. Well, I don't know which side I look like to you, but that feels like home to me. But, okay, so Dawney will be right back. I needed her to refresh because she was getting a little pixelated. Yeah. And we have really just a few more minutes to go. And I want to thank you, Meredith. Did you have any other questions for Dawney?
I didn't. Not really. So much. Actually, I did have one more. Question.
When she gets in, and then I want to wrap up after that with where Dawney, where you see yourself going from here. But first, Meredith has a question.
I just have one last question. What would you say to people who have maybe never picked up a paintbrush and who have always felt maybe compelled but not confident in doing that? What would you say to them?
I believe that everybody is born with creativity in their soul. I believe that it gets beat out of us through the process of education and life, and it's sad that happens, but it happens. I believe that if you want to, you should do it. I go to the art store, buy a little canvas, buy a little starter set of acrylic paints or water paints or oil paints or, whatever looks good to you. Put something down on a canvas, see how it feels. If that doesn't work, call me. I'll walk you through some other processes. Seriously, this is teaching creative process to adults who have lost that spark is something that makes my soul sing.
A lot of adults, I think, kind of lose their way, and they feel like, okay, maybe time's passed me by, so I don't feel like I can do that, So I think that is a wonderful message to get out there. Too.
Say it again, Dawney. Teaching the. I know what you said. Teaching the creative process to adults is
that's beautiful.
Well,
thank you for answering. Thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you, Meredith, for being
here.
You're awesome.
I'm gonna pop off.
That's so kind.
Outro.
Okay, thank you so much for helping me out, and thank you everybody for being here on Tinseltown tonight with me, Melissa Reyes, and my featured guest, the artist from Nashville, Grammy, Dawney Glenn. And you can find her at grammysart.com. And please stay in touch with both of us because we're going to have a knockout, awesome art party with confetti and streamers and who knows what else when I come to Nashville in October. And but before we go, I wanted to ask you to tell me, what do you think is going to happen next for you with your art? And where do you see yourself in 10, 15 years? Where do you want that to go?
I'm going to finish this series. I'm going to find somebody who's willing to put me up in a gallery and sell my paintings. And I'm expecting things to happen kind of in a
Yes.
gradual fashion all at once. You know how that goes. It's like da 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 da
Yeah,
boom.
it's like the ding.
So
Here we go. It's gonna happen. Angels get their wings. Everything. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, ding. 10 years from now. 10 years from now, if everything works out the way that I want it to in my head, I'll be living on a farm. I'll be teaching kids. I'll be cooking big meals for lots
And
of
the
people.
foundation?
And I'll be painting every day
That sounds
for
amazing.
fun.
But you're having fun now.
Just
I
for
can tell.
fun.
You're alive.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I am. I'm having lots of fun now. It's been a blessing. It has been a blessing that I have been able to take the last 4 months and say, okay, I'm painting full time. I'm painting
awesome.
full time.
That's
I mean, that's
great.
really
That's
how
great.
it hits
So
me.
I'm looking forward to
been a
following.
blessing.
Are you all right? Did you hurt yourself? Her halo is a little off, a little. So no, I think that's really great. And Dawney, I'm just so pleased to hear and so inspired by you, because it's really someone special who looks at something that's not there and tries to, imagine a way to make it happen and pursue that and for the good of somebody else. My brother is that way. He just opened a recuperative care center here, the first one in the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles for homeless people, where they can go after they've been discharged from the hospital, which is a huge problem here. They usually just get discharged out into the street. And he worked for years placing them in homes, and now works at a nonprofit that actually built a recuperative care center so that they have a place to go. And that thought process of, what happens after? What happens after they leave their group home? What happens after those foster kids are now on their own? That's, a huge need in our society, and you're doing something about it. And the other thought that you have about helping people and teaching them their art or the creative process at a point in which that not only is going to help them to find a hobby or a craft or a passion or a lost passion, but also it's what else? It's good for their brains. It's good for our brains to learn new things and to use use those processes and that make those connections, and then it opens your life to so many more opportunities for joy. And that's what you do, and that's why you're a superstar. And thank you so much for being on Tinseltown. I really appreciate it. I'm so happy to have met you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. So that's it. Any parting words? Anything you'd like to say?
Yay, thanks. Guys, thanks for coming. Melissa's here every Tuesday night. I'm here. Going forward, I'm here every Monday night. My time is 6 o'clock Central,
yes,
which I think is 4 o'clock your time.
Yes, I think so. What time is it now?
2 hours ahead of you, is that right?
Yes. Is it 9?
So, So I'm on.
7 o'clock
here. So right now it's just a little after 9 o'clock. Yeah. So I'm on at 6 o'clock Central, and then there's enough of a break that you can go and grab dinner, and then
you're
come
on
back
Monday
and be
now.
on for Ms. Meliz. See, wait, but that's
okay.
That's what I've been,
well,
but that's what I've been doing. Monday, so never mind.
Dawney, do you have a link that you could put in the side for your next episode if you have one ready?
Yeah.
Or just the blab.it? Okay, just put in your general link then.
No, I don't. The next. Tell you what, if you look me up, I am at Grammys_art on Blab and on Twitter, and then everything else it's Grammys Art without the underscore. One of these days I'll fix that,
Well, the way
but
it
one of
is
these days
now
is
in
the same
this
as having a round
moment,
to it.
and
So, you
that's
know.
the best place that we can be. This is where we can find her. And I want to just, let
good.
everybody know who's here now. We're going to
Yeah.
stop the recording in a few moments, but you don't have to leave. We're going to keep talking. But before I do, I have to mention that my artwork is on Redbubble, and if anybody would like to check it out, here's a little icon for that to remind me, RB. It's redbubble.com/people/Ms. Meliz. And you could see, and if there's anything else that you've seen, Cindy says, yes, I love my tote. She bought a tote bag. It's really cute, and it has a picture of a mandala of mine. And so if you see any mandalas or artwork that I do that's on Instagram or Pinterest or Snapchat that you would like to see as a print or other product, you could even get a phone case. It's pretty cool. And, it's El Cheapo wayo of getting arto. It's not the real thing like Grammy, but it is art to me, and it's a way for me to share it with you. So that's how I'm going to do it. Because there's no way I'm getting my stuff in a gallery. It's in a freaking notebook, It's on the backs of pieces of paper, but it can happen. I did.
You were supposed to be publishing a coloring
Cindy
book.
has it.
You were supposed to be doing a coloring book. So I started.
You
did.
It's on my website. It's a PDF. It's a free download. You can go to it, and I may have sent it to you in an email because you're on my email list, but you might have been excluded because I think I had you on. Well, nonetheless, if anybody, we're still recording, if anybody wants to get my coloring book, I started the first in the series of coloring books where I take the first draft of my drawing that has no color in it. It's just a pencil drawing of the mandala, the basic mandala. I scan that, and so there's the first 25 of my 100 mandala project is in a coloring book where you can print it out, and if you color that in and want to share it with me, that would be such an honor. It would be amazing. And certainly, Dawney, I know you wanted to do that, so you're welcome to you could print any page from it, or you could print the whole thing and make yourself a little book. And then after I have finished the 100 mandala project, I'll take the whole 100 and I'm going to publish that on Amazon. So you can have an actual coloring book. So it's happening. It's all happening.
Wonderful.
One more ding. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. Ding, 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 ding. So we're going to play the music and say goodnight. Say goodnight, Dawney. Good night, Dawney. Thank you so much for coming to Tinseltown tonight. We had a blast here. Thank you again to Meredith for giving me a little bit of a break. This is the longest I've been sitting upright for 3 days. So I really appreciate the help, and she had some wonderful questions. Thank you, Dawney, Glenn, and thank you everybody from Blab, Snapchat, Facebook, and MsMeliz.com. I look forward to seeing you again next week. I always have to leave a space. All right. Smiles, everybody. Smiles.